to Stitchcraft. My name is Ray, the Stitchcraft Queen, and today is Wednesday, June 18th, 2025. Can't believe it's already over halfway through June. It's good. I'm glad that this year is like kind of flying by because, as you can imagine, I am still doing pretty, okay to miserable depending on the day, excuse me. But anyways, we'll get into that later. First of all, my works in progress. I still do not have any progress on any of my whips. Yeah, I don't know what really is going on. I think it's because I realized today I have like a to-do list that just keeps piling up and piling up and piling up. Oh, and here's BB. Somehow I just took her to the dog park and somehow she still has all this energy. But anyways, there's just so much to get done before our little baby comes. And so it's a lot. Like, I think too, I will sit down to enjoy, TV or video game at the end of the day. And that's the only thing my brain has any power to focus on. So I very consciously have to make an effort to knit or even crochet while doing something else, which I used to just be able to do it. There's also, fun fact, during pregnancy, you actually lose, you literally lose, I don't know if it's actually brain cells, but you lose a little bit of brain mass. And you'll get it, it comes back once you've had the baby, but a lot of that too is to, make room for new connections so that the more nurturing side comes out, because you go from, it's very interesting. You have to look into the research a little more, but it is very cool and it makes sense because you do need more of that, nurturing motherly instincts. Not that just being a good nurturer is associated only with women, because that's something we're trying to get away from as a society. But you do need a little more of that as, a mom and when a baby comes. So very interesting, but I think that's also a little reason. The other thing too, I still just feel nauseous all the time. It's something I spoke to, my mom I've spoken heavily to about this, but I also speaking to my grandma on my mom's side, and she also just was nauseous her entire pregnancy long with my mom. So yeah, I don't think that's something I'm gonna get away from. It's at least very bearable now, and it's more of a set routine, but I think that's another reason when I get done at the end of the day, I just want to sit and do nothing and think of nothing. But yeah, no whip progress. Again, I'm hopeful that I'll have something next week, but realistically, no. The one time where I think I will actually have whip progress is next month. We are going to Orlando for my husband's work trip. And unlike the last work trip where there were activities during all the different meetings, people are saying this one's a little more on the, down low side. You kind of have to entertain yourself a little bit, which is totally fine, but that means that I'll be able to hopefully bring some knitting and get it done. Or at least have a little more the headspace and have some of that free time to get it done. And I'm sorry baby's going to hit the camera because she's rolling around like a crazy dog. Huh. You're being a crazy dog. Will you lay down? Thank you. She's not going to sit still. Okay. Anyways, though, yarny things. I got some yarn in the mail, though, which is why I still wanted to film today. And it is Sunday Fiber Co. You can see it. Don't know why I'm trying to hold it. Usually this is off camera. But we're at a different angle today. Oh yeah, we are in baby's room. This is baby's room. So we have this big felt rainbow wall back here that we worked really hard to put together. Oh, that's the crack on my phone. It looked like there was something right here. But no, that's the crack on my phone screen thing. But yeah, the last couple days have done so much more physical labor stuff. And sitting in a chair or a little bar stool did not seem appetizing to my body. So, or appealing, I guess would be the better word. So I opted for sitting on the floor and figured this would be the better spot to do it. The only thing we're missing in here really now is the crib, which will go right here. And then baby's room is actually complete. We have our rocker, and then we also have right over off camera is her dresser, which will also function as a changing table. And then we have a shelf as well behind the camera, which is the one that I painted, so I'm very proud of that. But yeah, baby's room, it's coming together. We're almost there. Thank goodness. I wanted to have it done a little more early on because I know that when I am in later stages of pregnancy, I think, want to focus more on the cleaning aspect of nesting and less, cleaning and then food preparation and less on the getting baby's nursery put together. So that should be all done. The crib won't be here till like next month. It takes a while, I guess, to ship. But that at least, that is all done. Yeah, excuse all the hiccups and other things. Something my body, I found, has done a lot more of the last couple weeks to help not make me as nauseous. Any like air bubble that's in my stomach means that I get nauseous, so my body, I guess, to help with that, has been hiccuping and just doing a lot more of those fun bodily functions that you kind of forget about when you're normal. But anyways, yarn, Sunday Fiber Co. It is their Lonely Socks Yarn Club. This is the main skein. It's a pretty, it's kind of like a tan pink, like a salmon pink, and then it has some lighter tans and greens and a little tiny bit of yellow in there. Very, very pretty all the way around. And this one is called All You Need Is Love. And then to pair with it, we have this wonderful, it's almost like a peach pink, but it's a little more pink than peach, I would say, if that makes any sort of sense. This one's called Penny Lane. Very, very pretty together. Absolutely gorgeous. So can't wait to add that to my Beatles blanket. Yes, other than that, that is all the yarny things and yarn stuff. I'm really, though, I guess we'll go into pregnancies. We had a lot of doctor's appointments last week. A lot. When I say a lot, I had 4 doctor's appointments, which also includes the dentist, but he's a doctor of your teeth, so But yeah, so we can jump into pregnancy stuff. Oh, baby might hit the camera again, so I'm sorry if it rattles. Can you stop? Do you have scratches on your back? Is that why you're doing that? She's like, yes, Mom. Okay, you gotta lay down. And she hit it with her tail. Here, let me move it back. There we go. Anyways, pregnancy stuff. This week, I guess we can just start with this week. I am feeling pretty good. Still, I wake up every morning, and typically by the time I go to work, which takes about anywhere between 30 and 45 minutes, I have thrown up at least once. And I say typically. There are some mornings where my body's able to hold it together. But for some reason, my stomach really, really, really hates whatever stomach acid or bile is in my tummy when I wake up. And so it just wants to get, even if I've sometimes if I've eaten food and I'm feeling fine, if I haven't already thrown up, my stomach wants to throw up because of what I'm assuming is stomach acid and bile. That was left over from the night before. Other pregnancy symptoms that I've been experiencing, I've started because all of your internal organs, so babies, this is my belly button, my uterus is supposedly somewhere around here now, in height, so that means all of my stomach and intestines and lungs and all of the internal organs are now basically squished from my finger up. So I'm starting to get some lung, essentially my lungs are being squozed up or being squished. And so it's not bad yet. I heard 3rd trimester is when it gets really bad. But as of now, I'm starting just to get randomly out of breath for things that are usually pretty easy. So for instance, yesterday I was vacuuming the whole house, which usually is a fairly simple task. But I was getting out of breath just from vacuuming. So all those fun things. Other pregnancy symptom is congestion. A lot of it I thought was allergies, but I've been taking my allergy pill now regularly for about 2 weeks again, now that I'm not like sick enough to throw it up. Um, and it's still, oh, excuse me, see all those fun bodily function. Anyways, where was I at? Now I forgot. Oh, baby, can you just lay down? Lay down, please. No, all the way down. Thank you, just stay there. But anyways, allergy pill. I thought that it was mostly allergies. Are you serious? No, I'm not throwing that. Go away. Go away. Shoo. Shoo. Thank you. Anyways, I thought that it was allergies because there was a lot of sneezing. Most of the sneezing has stopped now, at least. But the congestion itself is still there. And that is another pregnancy symptom. You just, no, go away. Lay down. Stay there. Stop being a bother. Thank you. I love my dog, but she's a lot sometimes. No, lay down. BB. Thank you. That's another pregnancy symptom. You just have a lot of mucus, and a lot of that comes with nasal congestion. So much fun. Usually it hasn't been that much of a problem, mostly because I'm fairly used to congestion around this time of year because of my, allergies to pollen and such. And it's usually not like a problem, except for when it like starts to go down my throat, and then it starts to, kind of trigger the nausea because it will trigger my gag reflex. That's the only time it's an issue. But so far that hasn't been too bad. My stomach is starting to feel like it is, like when I'm eating at the end of the day, especially like right after dinner. And usually I'll do dinner and then I'll have like a shake at night, vegan shake of course, to give me a little extra calcium before bed. And I also use it to take my pills, so my prenatal and then my allergy pill as well. So that helps me remind me for that. And then it's just my doctor and a lot of people I've talked to have said don't focus as much on like the healthy eating as like you normally would, just because I get so nauseous. And still certain foods are like weird triggers, but just focus on like getting calories. And so that's another way I can get a few more calories before bed. And yeah, luckily it is vegan ice cream and it's made with oat milk, so there is a little bit of fiber and protein in there. Not a lot, there's still a lot of sugar. But there's also like calcium and all those things in there as well. So not the best, but that's usually what I take before bed to remind me of it. But anyways, when I get to that point, I usually am feeling so full, like you feel after Thanksgiving dinner. And so that has not been very fun to deal with every night. And usually it's not a problem, it's just like a discomfort thing. But again, like just having another thing that is uncomfortable isn't always, the most fun. Other pregnancy symptom that's popped up is dry skin. Right now my lips are like so chapped, even though I've been like putting a ton of chapstick on them every day as often as I can. My skin is drying out, which partially comes just from being back in the Utah weather, I know, but I also know that usually it hits me in the fall and like the winter months really bad, and it's the summer right now, and usually I never get this during the summer. And it is another pregnancy symptom is having really dry, cracky skin and flaky skin. So I got some body lotion and a humidifier. The humidifier seems to be like really helping, at least like the majority of my skin. It's just my hands really. And yeah, it started to get bad when I saw like flaky skin on my face. I was like, okay, that's not good. So yes, that was another pregnancy symptom. I think that's all of them so far. yeah, much fun. All the fun things you get to deal with as a pregnant lady. And if you don't have all these symptoms, especially like if the nausea wasn't terrible, or if the nausea wasn't happening all the time, it would be like leaps and bounds better. But instead, the nausea just, it's like the kind of the baseline, and it sucks really bad. And it's like being sick 24/7, and then everything else just piles on top of it. So it really does feel like you're sick 24/7, but as a strong woman, a strong Larkin and Bromley woman, you just keep pushing through and you keep going day after day. It's funny, one of my coworkers actually was complaining about getting out of bed, and I was like, oh, you think you have a problem getting out of bed every day? Try knowing that within 30 minutes of you rolling out of bed, you're gonna throw up every single day. It sucks. But that's besides the point. Anyways, we'll go back to doctor's appointments because my symptoms have pretty much stayed the same throughout the last couple weeks. Nothing's really changed. But doctor's appointments, we had 4 last week. So I guess we can start. Let's start with the dentist, since that's kind of not really a doctor. So usually with pregnancy, you get really inflamed gums, and they tend to bleed a lot. So I've been keeping an eye on it, especially because my family has a history, at least on my mom's side, of receding gums. So that's something that, we just watch out for as a family, and we know we have to. Hopefully, little baby Celeste does not inherit that. Hopefully she inherits my husband's like perfectly healthy, great teeth. But anyways, so we went to the dentist. I was super worried. I have never really been nervous to go to a dentist. And I've had 2 root canals done. And it's because I know my dentist is amazing. Even the one in Colorado we found was amazing. We're back with our same dentist. My same dentist who was actually like my childhood dentist since the time I was like 4 years old or something. So I guess you can say I really trust my dentist. But anyways, this was like the first time I was kind of nervous to go because it had been longer than 6 months because we were supposed to go in January and then we got pregnant, so we kind of put that off. And of course, on top of that, we had moved, and so that it already kind of got put off because of the move, and then we're having a baby, so that takes priority. But the other thing is I have been throwing up so much, and generally you throw up and it's acid that's going over your teeth, and that can cause your enamel to, disintegrate and cavities to form. So I was worried I was gonna have like 18 cavities. Not necessarily like, I guess I was more worried for like what the bill was gonna be than anything. I don't get scared of like getting cavities filled or getting numbed or anything, because again, I trust my dentist. I've had it done plenty of times before. But the good news is not a single cavity. Thank goodness. I don't know how that happened, but I will take it. I will take the little wins where I can. Phoebe, I'm not throwing that. You gotta lay down. You're tired. Lay down, please. Thank you. Anyways, so no cavities. And then the other thing is the dental hygienist who... Are you serious? Thank you. Anyways, the dental hygienist who cleaned my teeth and flossed them was amazed because my gums are like one of the only she's seen that are not like inflamed or swollen or bleeding a lot. She said I had very good looking gums. The only thing is a couple of my teeth, the gums had receded. But as I've been feeling them over like the past couple of weeks, it seems to like come and go, the receding. I read online that is another symptom that you can get from pregnancy. So I think just my genetics coupled with, no, go away, shoo, go. I'm tired of you being here. You gotta lay down. Thank you. But anyways, genetics coupled with the pregnancy, I think, has been the cause of that, because I have stayed so far away and been so careful from anything that I believe is the cause of receding gums. So you can ask my family for more details. I will not disclose them here. But anyway, so she was like, just keep up your dental, whatever your dental routine is, just keep it up because clearly it's working. And again, I don't know how, because I feel like my dental routine is not that great. I mean, I brush every day, but I feel like it's not the best. It could definitely be better, but I will take these little wins where I can get them. So that was a good visit with my dentist. And then I'll go into the cardiologist last. But then so that was Wednesday, and then Thursday we went back up to the U, and we are participating in a study. Really cool. It is trying to connect and see if the father's health and like brain power essentially has anything to do with the health of the baby and the placenta. They're trying to see if fathers have any sort of role in the baby in the womb, which to me, I don't believe that there is. I mean, there's not really scientific facts to back that up on, but so much, besides like the genetics that he contributes, obviously most of the growing and the health of the baby is dependent on the mother, right? If father drinks during pregnancy, that doesn't affect the placenta. But if mom drinks while pregnant, yeah, that affects the baby and the placenta. So it'll be very interesting to see the outcome of that part of it. But the other part, which is the part I'm more interested in, just because of my history with this, is how mother's heart health affects baby and placenta. So essentially we went in and they did, it was only like an hour and a half that we were there, but they did some tests. They did like they drew blood and took like my saliva so that they could get DNA from both me and the baby. They took my husband's blood too, so they could get his DNA. They did all that, and then they ran a bunch of tests on my heart, not like echoes or anything, but it was essentially seeing like how fast blood traveled from the carotid artery all the way down to your femoral artery. It's like the speed of your blood being pumped. They took different blood pressures, and according to the research guy and all their numbers that they have, because they have like I think it was international, because they had Europe and then the rest of the world health numbers. But my heart is healthier according to them compared to the average American and European woman my age. So that was really cool to hear. And yeah, so that was what we did Thursday. And then after that, we had just our normal OBGYN appointment. So that, and this is the only OBGYN appointment, at least so far, because we could only schedule them so far out, that we're having with a different OBGYN than mine. It's in the same like network and provider and doctor's office. Our doctor was just totally booked this month. But anyways, it was very bizarre. I will say I like our doctor a lot more. This doctor came in, didn't even introduce herself. And my main concern this month was, hey, I haven't been gaining weight. And I know that the baby's still really small, but from everything that I've read and seen online, I'm still supposed to be like gaining weight during this month. And she basically saw that I had been really sick and was like, well, have you been eating and keeping food down? I was like, well, yeah, most of the time. She's like, then you're fine. And that was end of conversation. I was like, you know what? If this keeps happening, I'll speak with Abby next month about it, but whatever, doctor lady. It was, and like these OBGYN appointments, if you've ever been in them, they are very quick. They basically get you in, answer any questions that you have, tell you how many weeks, or confirm how many weeks pregnant you are, tell you, or ask you what your symptoms are, see if there's anything else you need, and then they use a little Doppler device now that they can feel or see the baby's heartbeat. Not see, they can hear the baby's heartbeat with the Doppler device. So they'll listen for that, and then they basically send you on your merry way. It literally all happens about in the course of 10 to 15 minutes, so very, very quick. like we so fast, my husband would be able to come to all of them on his lunch break if it weren't for like the hour drive from our house. Well, it's an hour with traffic, like bad traffic. It's about 35 without traffic, but it's worth it because the team up there, generally speaking, is very great. We've had nothing but good experiences up until this last one. But even the nurse that was helping out was super nice and answered a few more questions than the actual OBGYN. It was at the end of the day too, so my husband's very kind. He's chalking it up to it was the end of her shift probably, and she wanted to go home. So that was that. And then it was interesting because the day before we had been to the cardiologist, and so she should have had that information in my chart by then, and she didn't go over any of that. So again, we'll go over that with our OBGYN next month. It was just very interesting experience because it was such like night and day from what we were used to with Dr. Abby. Anyway, so that was that appointment. And so make sure you find a good OBGYN that makes you feel comfortable and safe and taken care of, and like your questions that you're asking are valid and that they matter. Because they do. You deserve to be, taken care of and feeling at least as comfortable as you can during pregnancy. Pregnancy is not comfortable. Unless you're one of those people that, somehow you never know you're pregnant or you love being pregnant. In that case, props to you. I wish that I was you. At least had your symptoms. Then on to the cardiologist, which was the big one that we were waiting for. So I go in first thing in the morning and I get my echo done. And the technician was so funny. She's like, "You are, I think, the calmest person that I have ever done an echo on." And I'm like, well, I've had these done since before I can remember. Literally, since the time I was 4 years old, I have had echocardiograms done at least every few years. So I know the drill. If you have not had one, all it is an ultrasound of your heart, essentially. They get the gel. I think it smells so good. It's probably because it's like linked to a childhood memory of me being at Primary Children's with Dr. Callie, who was my pediatric cardiologist. But I think the gel smells so good. They put it all over your chest, and then they use the ultrasound wand essentially just to look at your heart. There are some moments where it does kind of just like an ultrasound on your tummy, where they kind of have to jab it in the side at points. They have to do the same thing. So like right here on the left side, because your heart's on your left side, so they have to look at it from this angle. There is a rib that I think definitely got bruised, but that's like the worst thing that happened. It's not painful other than some like very, very mild discomfort. So if you're going for an echocardiogram, don't be nervous about it. It's very easy, very painless procedure. I guess the other worst thing is they do put some stickers, like some heart monitors. It's 3 of them generally, like one on each side and then one kind of on the tummy area. At one point, she had to reposition the one on the tummy because she was trying to get a look from the bottom of my heart. So she had to go like right where she put the sticker. And for some reason, when she pulled the sticker off, she pulled it off very slowly instead of just ripping it off like a Band-Aid. And so it hurt really. Like that was the most painful thing, again, was that sticker coming off. But yeah, and then the technician, like, yes, they know what a healthy heart looks like, but also they're not the doctors, so they don't do any diagnostics. They don't really do anything else. Like we were joking because you can watch what's happening on their screen. And at one point she's like, they do like this thing where they show different colors and it shows which way the blood is flowing through your heart. She's like, well, at least, I know that your blood is flowing the correct way. And I was like, well, that's good. I feel like I would have known that sooner if it was flowing the opposite direction or something was happening. But that was the echo. And then after that, we went into the doctor's office. My mom came with me in case they needed a more extensive history of my heart, just because, again, I was like 4, 5, 6 years old when most of these were happening. You gotta lay down, baby. Thank you. When most of these things were happening, like really, like I can remember like general things of what happened. Like I know I had an MRI at one point, but I'm not 100% positive if it was, I'm assuming it was of my heart, but it could have been also of my brain because, again, it was like part of a study that they were doing on this new technology to fix holes in hearts. It's actually called ASD. It's, what was it, atrium septal defect, I think is what it was called. But anyways, so then we go into the doctor's office, and me and my mom are waiting. They do an EKG or an ECG. They're used interchangeably. My whole life heard it as an EKG, and it's weird because the cardiologist referred to it as an EKG, but in his writing, he wrote it as an ECG. So very, just different BB stuff. Move over there. It was very interesting, like all the different medical lingo. You're fine. I just needed you to move. Okay? You're okay. Anyway, so they do that. They did, I think it was a 12 lead on me. They number them differently because there's a different number of like wires that'll attach to your body. But essentially the same thing as the echo. They take these little stickers with these little like electric nodes and they put them all over your chest, your stomach. There's even some on my arms. And that's to track like your blood flow and the electric. It's mainly like the electric pulse and the rhythm, of your heart. They did one of those as well. And then after that, the cardiologist came in. Which is funny because when I scheduled the doctor's appointment, they just put me with a random cardiologist, whoever was, the earliest availability for that day. And it happened to be a doctor, the name Dr. Lindsay. And I told my mom, like, haha, isn't that funny? We won't forget that. And the reason it's funny is because my pediatrician, who my mom, like, interviewed doctors. She did very extensive and intense research on a pediatrician for me and my siblings. Because she wanted us to have a good one. But my pediatrician's name was Dr. Lindsay. And so that was kind of funny. We were like, haha, what a funny coincidence. Anyways, the doctor walks in and goes, like, the first thing he says before even saying hello is, I should tell you hello from my father first. And me and my mom instantly are like, no way. It's Dr. Lindsay, my pediatrician. His son was my cardiologist. And is my cardiologist now, I guess. But really crazy story because his dad actually is the one that, when listening to my baby heart at like 3.5 years old, found that there was like something didn't sound right, referred me to a cardiologist at Primary Children's, and that's how the hole in my heart was found so early on, was because of my cardiologist father, who is my pediatrician. So really, really crazy coincidence. But as soon as like we made introductions and we like all made the connections, me and my mom just felt so much more at ease because we're like, okay, like we know your family, we know that you're like good people, and we trust you very dearly. So if anybody needs a good cardiologist and is in Utah, for adults at least, go see Dr. Lindsay at the University of Utah Healthcare. Yeah, so really, really cool experience. But anyways, he looked at all of my graphs, took my history. He said that there is no blood flow between the two chambers. It's completely sealed still. He found that it has not changed during my pregnancy at all, and that my heart still, even though it's pumping 30 to 50% more than the average human heart because of my pregnancy, it's healthier than most adults my age, and just most adults in general, which was very, very good to hear. A lot of that he pointed towards playing soccer all growing up, and then also keeping a fairly active adult lifestyle. Active in my career choice, I will say. I don't go to the gym or play sports regularly at all. But I mean, being a dog groomer is very physical labor, and even before that, I was a flight attendant, so I was on my feet all day and going at different elevations. And handling heavy luggage, and then before that I was a delivery manager, so I was lifting heavy boxes all the time. So and then on top of that, my vegan diet, just because I eat healthier things in general because of that. No. Can you lay down? Or are you tired of laying down? No. But one thing that made us feel really, really happy and good about this is he said, and he wrote this in his note to my OBGYN, because her main concern was, we don't know if you're going to be able to push the baby out safely. Oh, there's baby. She wants her mom. Okay, fine. Go get it. But her main concern was, are you going to be able to safely push the baby out? And props to her, because again, it is such a new technology that, you know, there just hasn't been, and I say new, it is it's 23, 24-ish years since it's gone in my heart. And I was one of the first people in the FDA, like, human trial study, I guess is what you can call it. And he was saying too, the one that went in my heart was like, I don't want to say made of a better material, but because it was like one of the first ones, they were, you know, made a little more carefully. They're still very, very reliable to this day, and have saved a lot of people from having to get their chest cracked open, I know. But anyways, just because like there hasn't been that many people that got them, you know, when they were little and are now having kids and having to deal with that. And there probably weren't that many adults that got them and then went on to have kids either. But anyways, the whole point of that is still, even though my heart is completely healthy, props to my OBGYN and medical team at the U for really caring and really making sure that, you know, I as the mother will be safe and okay during pregnancy and labor and delivery. Anyways, Dr. Lindsay, my cardiologist, not my pediatrician, my cardiologist, said that I no longer have to be classified as a high-risk pregnancy. I can go back to being just a normal risk pregnancy, I guess, because all pregnancies have some risk involved. And that I do not need to have a C-section for my birth. I can do a normal labor and delivery vaginally if that's what we so choose, and what we feel most comfortable doing with my health provider, or guidance from her. So that was really good to hear. So like, he did say that it is a good idea still to, if I get pregnant again, which I don't think we will, because this one has been so much work and so much, you know, I don't want to say pain and suffering, but essentially that's what it is. But if I were to get pregnant again, it's a good idea to get in and get another echo done, just, you know, to make sure everything's still operating okay and working okay with my heart. But he didn't say that I need any follow-up. I don't need a cardiologist on site when we get into like the further stages of labor and delivery, or, you know, any of that part of my pregnancy. And he even went so far to say that because the hole in my heart does not seem to be genetic, because my mom and my dad did not have it, my grandparents did not have one, you know, and so on and so forth, as long as we know our medical history. We do not, well, he felt like we do not need to have a fetal echocardiogram, because he doesn't think that little Celeste will likely inherit that. He thinks there's a very low probability of that. So that was very, very good to hear. And that essentially is what made my mama heart feel a little bit better. We're still going to have one because it's already scheduled, and, you know, it's mostly covered by the insurance. So we're like, why the heck not? It'll ease both me and my husband, I think, a lot. So yes, that will be good. And, you know, it's always fun just to see the little baby. The fetal echocardiogram, I have not actually had one done because I have not been pregnant before, but I'm assuming it's going to be the exact same thing as an ultrasound. They're just going to look solely at the baby's heart instead of at the whole baby, and do essentially an echocardiogram like they would on a human, or a human an adult human, there we go. A human that has made it into this world, there we can say that. So that one's coming up in just a couple weeks actually, so we're kind of excited for that. And then after that one is our next ultrasound. Both of those happen, I think, within the week of each other actually, so that will be good. We have one morning and then one a week later. So those are the next big doctor's appointments. They're about 2 to 3 weeks out, I think. So yeah, so that was really, really good news. So that was the thing I was most excited to share with people too, just because, again, there's not a lot of studies on, helix occluders is the device that was put in my heart and how it affects people during pregnancy. So any information that I get, I love to share with anyone else that may be going through the same, that may have had the same or a similar experience, or had one put in and they found out they're pregnant. You're going to be okay as long as you're a healthy person, or at least healthy-ish person. But still, it is good to consult your doctor and a cardiologist if possible. But yeah, he also said to really, he didn't think that I would ever really need to see a cardiologist again unless, obviously signs of, something happening with the heart, which I do, I always am very cautious about that. But he said he would just follow what my pediatric cardiologist, Dr. Callie, had said, which is to get an EKG. He lengthened it. Dr. Callie said 5 to 10 years. My new cardiologist, Dr. Lindsay, said I really should only need one every 10 years. And so unless, again, I get pregnant again, then we'll get in to see him. But he said that should be, that should be sufficient. Oh, I know. You just want to cuddle now. We're almost done. Yeah, I think that really is everything. I know there was a lot of just pregnancy-related things in this one again, but that kind of really is all that is going on right now in our little world. But yeah, hopefully again, knitting and crochet will come up soon, but probably not. I'm not getting my hopes up. But yeah, we will see about next week. If I have progress next week, I will share, because I don't think my row one's in a couple weeks. So even if I didn't have any whips, I wouldn't have any yarn to share. So we will probably just put that on hold. If I have progress, I will make another one for next week. If not, we will see you in about 2 weeks. But yeah, you guys all stay safe out there and keep on being awesome and enjoy the hot, sunny weather, especially while it lasts. I know that it seems like it's kind of shortened, or at least it's been pushed into the fall every year, so you can't enjoy it as much, especially if you're in school. But yeah, stay safe out there, and we will see you later. Bye-bye!